when we were 20 kilometers more or less from Kiev, I saw all the previous attacks, you know, the buildings destroyed, and I was thinking, oh my God, Ukrainian recovered this part, you know, they were fighting so much, and now they could lose it again. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Then there comes a new world, and it's like fashion, you know? It's like, you know.
Very sad, but it's true.
It's very sad, you know, but it's true. It's, you know, most of the people, they don't even get informed. They just immediately put, you know, I support this, I support, but they don't even know the history, or they don't know the reasons, or they, every war is really complicated, you know?
Yeah. Welcome to Storytelling Ukraine. Fun stories of peace, sad stories of war, true stories of life in Ukraine. And I'm very happy and honored that we're joined today by, I have to read it, sorry, but it's Marina Perezagua. Did I say it correctly?
Perfectly.
Okay, so you are a well-renowned author, in Latin America at least, and you are a reporter for El País, and now you are in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So thank you for finding the time to have this conversation. I know you're horribly tired and you've had difficult days in Ukraine.
I'm very happy.
But thank you so much, and it's an honor. What were your expectations before coming to Ukraine?
So I had a kind of existentialist crisis because I live in the US since a very long time, and things are progressively worse and worse and worse. Like people don't think or don't speak about really important things like human rights doesn't exist anymore, like you know, climate change or death penalty. Forget about wars. There are wars that are visible, there are wars that are not, and unfortunately Ukraine is not so visible anymore. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to come and see, first try to help in any way that I can, spreading the word and writing, and second it was kind of even selfish decision. I mean, like, I want to see the reality, you know. Mm-hmm. We are living in a world where we are hiding the suffering. We don't mind other people's life or death, and I wanted to see that with my own eyes, you know.
Mm-hmm. So I can make a conclusion that you really knew what the war was about and what to expect and to see here. Yeah. But you've been here for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. So has there been anything that didn't meet your expectations, something that surprised you, something that you didn't expect to see?
Mm-hmm. So there is something very particular, is I have a child, she's 2.5 years old. Of course, you know, it's the most important thing of our lives.
Yeah.
I felt a little guilty to come here and leave her.
It's okay. I mean, the microphones are not picking up what Dr. Henry Marsh is saying, so we are safe here because of these mics. So we can continue.
So when I was in Poland to cross the frontier, I was like, oh my God, what I'm doing? I mean, I don't want to leave her alone, you know. I come from a very dysfunctional family, so it's like, as long as I arrived to first Kiev, I realized that I didn't really, of course I miss her, of course I speak to her, of course, but everything was, I didn't expect that I somehow give so much importance to this war over missing my child, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was one very personal thing that I would have never imagined.
Mm-hmm. Taking this war so personally, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. And I say, how I mean, I'm not an Ukrainian. I mean, I was living with my friend Anna Nesterenko. I say hello.
Yep.
And I love her very much. We were living together for a long time, actually sharing a room. But in the end, it's not my country, you know?
Yeah.
How could I take it so seriously? And so it's complex, because in some parts it's like, I mean, if my daughter, when they say Ciudad, will say, really? I mean, you maybe could die and leave me alone over a country that is not even your country.
Right.
But if I have to be honest, and this is what happened, really.
So why do you think you take it so personally? So what is it about Ukraine and the war in Ukraine that made it basically your war?
I'm not sure, because since I have been so little here, it's so surprising for me that I have to think still, why is that, you know? Part of the thing, of the problem, I think, is, as I say, the planet is dying.
Right.
And people is dying, and not only here. I mean, in Africa, almost nobody speaks anymore about Africa in
Right.
some countries, or, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like, for me, any war is relevant, in a sense that is the feeling of also having a respect for life, you know, and
For
reality,
every life.
and every life, you know.
Yeah. But I may be wrong, and I'm in Ukraine, and I don't follow the Western media that much. I mean, I read the CNN and the BBC sometimes, I watch the news and other channels, etc. But I have a feeling that the Western media are very selective in covering all the modern day wars.
Yeah.
So now all the attention is in Gaza, and I'm not in any way here to compare the wars in Ukraine and in Gaza and to say, okay, this war is more important than that war. We're not saying that.
No.
But, you know, you have the war in Gaza, you have the war in Ukraine, you still have the war in Syria, and you still have the war in many countries of Africa. So why do you think is it that the Western media choose to cover these wars so selectively? Why is that?
I think war, or speaking about war, has been a way to speak about oneself. So when there is a new war, okay, I go with the flag, I put in Facebook my picture with the flag, you know, like that I say, but I'm not speaking about the other people or about the suffering. I'm speaking about myself. I'm supporting myself. I'm making a propaganda about myself, you know.
Yeah.
Then there comes a new world, and it's like fashion, you know. It's
Exactly.
like, you know.
Very sad, but it's true.
It's very sad, you know, but it's true. It's, you know. Yeah, as you say,
is trendy in this season.
Exactly.
Like
you
we
know?
were wearing red, and now we're
exactly.
talking about this war and not that war because it's out of fashion.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the people, they don't even get informed. They just immediately put, you know, I support this, but they don't even know the history, or they don't know the reasons, or every war is really complicated, you know.
Yeah.
It's not black and white, or so. Yeah, I think it's a way to promote, I don't know, in Instagram or.
yeah, true. And another thing that, again, I have this impression that Western intellectuals, for some reason, I mean, they're smart people. They're supposed to be smart. But if you look at the American universities, and if you look at the European intellectuals, a lot of them, right? So they don't seem to understand the reasons of the war in Ukraine. which I doubt because they seem to be really, smart people. So for some reason they choose to ignore and not want to know the exact reasons. So why do you think it's that? Where does it have its
Because they don't
roots?
want to change the status of life. You know, in the States we have a lot of department, March 6th. Come on, I go in bicycle every day by bicycle and, you know, and they are speaking all theory, writing papers, you know. What do you do with that? We need action and we have to be pragmatic and, you know, and activism and real, you know. I had to quit the university. I couldn't take anymore, you know, like, so, yeah, they want to have they are against private property, but they do have private property. I am not against private, but I don't have, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a hypocrisy, you know, like. So I guess is that it's just, yeah, we have to live fine, and why, you know, we write and like that. We it seems like we mind, but this is not enough at all.
No, not at all. So we spoke about the intellectual elites, yes, but what about the majority of the population? So you've lived in the United States for so many years, and also obviously you know what's happening in Spain, and how do people treat, or what do they think about the war in Ukraine, if they think at all about it? Do they talk about it? Because, I mean, we have the level of, evening news and, national newspapers, but also we have this level of a conversation with the taxi driver. So what does it look like if you're in a cab in New York and you start talking about the war in Ukraine, or you're in Madrid and you start talking to a taxi driver about the war in Ukraine?
Well, it's something very surprising because that's a very interesting question, because I like a lot to speak with people in the street, humble people.
Right.
You know? So, as the intellectuals at universities are writing papers and telling how things should be in this utopian, you know, I don't know where they live. When you speak with a taxi driver, they are more informed, you know, or with a person that is selling mangoes in the street, or with a person that, you know, because they know what is suffering, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's why for me, I'm not interested, and every time less in reading essays by intellectuals, you know? There is was very famous writer, Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, that say, for being completely idiot, you have to know Latin.
That's a good one.
Yeah. You know, so because at some point you are becoming in a world that doesn't. So, yeah, I have this feeling, you know, as I say, the reality versus this bubble, you know, of very privileged people.
Right. So has it always been like that, or do you think there was some turning point in the West where this changed completely?
When I arrived to the States, everything was completely different.
Which was when? How many years ago?
I don't know. I arrived 2004, I think.
Okay.
So the university was a place where you could speak, where you could think freely.
Yeah. Express yourself freely too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You could design your own courses. This was very beautiful because, you know, give you freedom and progressively now, for example, if you see the libraries, you know, they are getting empty. Like the reference.
Okay.
You know, but so I don't know from where is this coming. With no doubt, after the pandemic, it was a turning point. I think people thought, okay, the apocalypse can come any day.
Yeah.
Let's think on ourselves,
Yeah.
Save yourself, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before I used to admire the university and I consider it my home, and now I don't know. I don't want to know anything about that, especially about NYU. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think it's some kind of pressure that they're feeling? Because nobody is really telling them like to pull out those books from the library, not to say that, choose not to notice, the war in Ukraine and other wars around the world. So is it like some kind of a self-inflicted censorship that they're basically using, or they're afraid of something? Why is it happening?
There is a lot of fear. I cannot speak for, of
cancel
course,
culture?
For any university, because I have colleagues. First, I have colleagues at the university where I was that they are fighting a lot, and I don't know how they don't get fired yet, but so it's not everyone like that. Also, not every department is the same, But at the department where I was, there is a lot of fear. They pay a lot of money. They don't want to lose this money, and they know that if they speak, they will lose the money, the money, everything.
Yeah.
The job.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So it's just very basic reason. Just they're afraid to lose their status.
Exactly.
So who is then the decision maker? Who is the decision maker? Who are they afraid of? Who can deprive them of the status? Is it like the university administration, the students who could protest? Who has, who takes the reign? Who is in charge?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a general now way to, as I say, that in every state, because I don't want to generalize, I can speak where I was working. For example, I was first in Stony Brook, and my experience was amazing, was a public university. And then when I went to the other, I don't know who take in my case, there is a lot of marketing now in the universities. You don't teach literature anymore, you teach the politics that you want, but you cannot disagree, you don't have a dialogue. My boss, for example, I had a budget to invite other authors from outside. She took it for herself to make her shows and make her, happenings and whatever about transgender, which is great, but there are priorities, and people is dying.
Yeah.
So, great, do whatever you want with your vagina or your penis, but you still can help people,
Right. Okay, so a lot of focus on very trivial things, and the most important things just basically are ignored.
Yeah,
that's the impression I get from the story. Okay. Now,
1 minute.
1 minute till the lights are off. Dr. Henry Marsh is telling us that we have 1 minute, but we're not going to stop the interview because I have the batteries in both of my cameras, and then we'll light the candle. If something wrong is happening, we'll still have the candle just in case. So that's a very interesting picture of the Western world and the politics and the intellectuals in Western universities. Do you think they have a say in shaping the politics? Do you think that one of the reasons why Ukraine is getting insufficient support is because of this intellectual milieu, which is so pacifist and focusing on penises and vaginas rather than the real problem? Do you think it's part of the problem? Do you think they have some power over politics and decision makers?
Not sure about that. I'm very bad with politics, but I don't think. I think universities think that they have much more power than they have.
Okay. Okay, so wishful thinking, yeah, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I see. Well, that's a little bit reassuring, you know. That's reassuring to know that they don't have any real power. That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Coming back to Ukraine, you've been here, as I said, just, a few days. What are the things that impressed you the most? Like some facts, something that you saw?
Oh my God, for example, when we were 20 kilometers more or less from Kiev, I saw all the previous attacks, the buildings destroyed, and I was thinking, oh my God, Ukrainian recovered this part, they were fighting so much, and now they could lose it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really I have tears in my eyes because it's like how many lives you lose there and now again maybe or maybe not, I wish not, but so these things of seeing there was a maternity home and thinking again is going to repeat the same thing but with less people, with people more injured, with less with more dead people. So this was one of the things. Other things are like the cities are very alive, like you can see the sadness, of course, but you can see also a lot of joy, this was really, really, sometimes I felt like I was in France, and sometimes I felt like I was in the war, and this combination is somehow beautiful, somehow.
So you see that with an artistic eye, I suppose.
I mean, I think it's because you have an energy inside to live and to even laugh, and you need this to fight.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do. Now, normally when I interview people for my podcast, I ask some very typical questions, identical questions for everyone, and I know that you've been in Ukraine for just a few days, but from your experience, what is one thing that the whole world gets wrong about Ukraine?
I don't know. Many people, I think, Ukraine and Russia is the same, or that they have been always friends, and that they, that the matryoshkas are from Ukraine,
Right. Yes.
So they mix the cultures, Most of the people,
Unfortunately, a lot of the people.
Yeah, a lot of the people. This is the most basic thing that I see. So it's like saying, it's like maybe they don't take so serious the war also because it's like a siblings fight, but it's not.
It's not. It really is not. Right.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is of Ukraine. They say there'll be a power cut at 11 o'clock.
And there is no power cut.
11, and there's no power cut. This country is chaotic.
And you know what? That's what is saving us. Yes, we are chaotic, and that's how we fight. We are unpredictable in fighting back. So I guess that's one of the reasons why we're still standing. Okay, they're expecting the power to be cut off at 11 p.m., but it's not.
It's 11 already?
No, it's 5 past.
5 past 11.
Okay.
Well, don't worry. If they said there'll be a power cut, it will be there. Maybe not at 11 sharp.
Maybe tomorrow morning.
Maybe tomorrow morning when you're expecting it. And that's, a very, smart tactic. Yes, to fool the enemy. Yes, so Doctor Henry Marsh, in person.
The voicing.
So much about the rest of the world. What about Ukrainians? I mean, you've met a few. And maybe you already have some first impressions. Is there anything that we get wrong about ourselves? Because, I mean, we can look at ourselves in the mirror, but we can't really, like, take a step aside and look.
Can't see on the other side of the mirror.
We can't see the other side of the mirror. So, is there anything that we get wrong about ourselves as Ukrainians? Something that you see right away that we're not right about ourselves?
Not so far, honestly. I mean, everybody welcome us so fine, and as I say, I have friends from Ukraine. Not that they left, but that they were already there in the States long time ago, and nothing. For sure, if I live here, but like every people, you know, I mean, well, obviously there is corruption, or you know. Speaking about the medical systems, or that medical students, as Henry Marsh say, can pass the exam with paying. You know?
So this is bribing.
Exactly. But these are things that I didn't see because I was not here. But I like a lot the way of naturality. I don't know how to say, or like how it's okay that women cook and take care of the family, and not because of that you are machista, or you know. Or I love to cook. I love to. My ideal life will be, you know, to take care of my house, right, and you know, and now so here you take it with it's with freedom, you know. You do whatever you want, and. You know, if you want to do, you do, and if not, it's not politicized in this sense, you know. While in other countries are speaking about pronouns or whatever, here you are more free. I feel more free here in a country of work than in the States, or you know, where I have to sign with my pronouns. And
to be careful, like. To remember all the names and all the names identities.
That they change, and I don't say it's not important, but again, it's priorities, you know, and it's also believing on that, because they use the pronouns, but then they are completely unfair with the microphone.
It's okay,
with colleagues or students. Or,
I see. You are a writer. You've published how many books?
Hundreds.
Dr. Henry Marsh says hundreds.
101. No. I don't know. 4 of short stories, and I don't know, 4 novels, and 1 of poetry.
Lovely. So, let's say you were to write a book about Ukraine. Maybe you will one day. What would be the title?
Oh my God, how difficult. We will have to ask Henry.
My wife.
Because she's very good with the titles. I will not know. I really will not know. I do know that I have a list of titles in my computer, but I don't remember them.
Okay.
Well, my wife came up with a title.
This was great.
If you put air raid sirens into emojis on your thing, it comes up with a mermaid. Sirens. So every day my wife
but translation, mermaid.
Terrified that I'm here in Ukraine. She says, any mermaid. So she texted me this morning saying, my book about Ukraine, which I may or may not write, will be called All Quiet, No Mermaid.
That's great, really.
But
she's really so funny, really.
Yes, okay. So maybe she'll be the next person to be interviewed for this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, she has poor health, so she can't really travel. But she's a genius. Well, she's a brilliant writer. And she's a genius. All the titles of my books she came up with. The titles of the movies about me.
And she's very funny, very beautiful, everything. She's perfect.
She's extraordinary.
Excellent.
All quiet, no mermaid.
No mermaids. Lovely. I really love this. Yes, all quiet bit. I love it.
And she always says, please, Henry, listen to the mermaids.
same for the mermaids.
Yeah, which is the opposite that in the mythology, you know.
Right, for the ancient Greeks.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, but it's the opposite.
Sirens,
Yeah.
that is the opposite. Yeah. We're listening to the sirens.
Like Odysseus, when the sirens sound, I block my ears and go back to sleep.
Exactly, yes.
I do not run to the air raid shelter, which my wife wants me to do.
Well, we are in Lviv, which is relatively safe, so yeah.
No,
No,
It's
I'm
okay.
talking about when we were in Kiev.
Yeah, well, in
I
Kiev
won't
it's a
feel
different
the
thing, yes.
difference, from Kiev and here,
Yeah, there is a difference too. Yes, yeah.
But then all the
definitely.
aircraft defences are in Kiev, which is why Kharkiv is
Exactly.
being shot to pieces.
Exactly. Unfortunately, yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
it is a monstrous what's going on at the moment. Monstrous.
It is.
Russia is incredible.
Dr. Henry Marsh himself. Yes, I just.
in person.
No,
Turn
we
the
were saying
camera.
earlier, the Second World War killed what, 50 million people?
Yeah.
And the Second World War was a culmination of the First World War. And the First World War was a sort of expression of the Franco-German
Animosity or.
animosity over the previous 100 years,
Right.
going back to Napoleon and Sadowa and all that. I know it's American hegemony, but the idea was there'd be a rules-based order where countries would no longer invade each other. There'd be some kind of discussion about it.
Yeah.
And with Putin's invasion of Ukraine, we're going back to the 19th century.
Right.
And that's just pathetic.
Yes.
And if it was all about Slavic brotherhood and Ukraine is little Russia, why does Putin need to be the richest man in the world? Why does he need to be a billionaire? Why does he need to have all these palaces which Navalny exposed?
Right.
It's all lies, it's all crap.
Yeah. Well.
It's vile men.
He is. I think one of the problems of the Western world is that the West does not believe in pure evil anymore.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And what is happening now with Russia's
I
invasion?
think it's pure evil. I think it's pure evil.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. You do, because you've seen things and
And as
I
you say,
know a little bit about Central European history.
you do, right,
And it's about greedy old men.
right, with heavy complexes and.
I just tweeted actually. I took in superheroes. There was a Barbie doll with a prosthetic leg.
yeah.
Yep.
So I tweeted that saying, "Here's the Barbie doll at superheroes." What an inspirational place, but how terrible that all this is produced by greedy old men in the Kremlin. That's what they are. They're greedy old men,
Right.
and they should be recognised as such.
Right, they are greedy old men, and across the Atlantic we have scared old men.
Yeah. Although with Trump you have a greedy old man.
Well, he is a greedy old man, but he's also, well, okay, let's not get into that.
This will be for the 3 hours.
Yes, I mean, I don't want to have my podcast taken away from YouTube, so I'd...
So where's the power cut? I'm disappointed. I was hoping
Well, so am
local-
I was hoping to have, this dramatic entrance of having a podcast and then the power goes off and we have to light the candle.
Air raid warnings and bombs.
Exactly.
Henry, we should have prepared that Henry turned
Henry even lit
off
the
the
candles.
lights.
The candles.
The candles are lit, you see, all the preparation, everything is for the power cut,
Damn it,
but it's just not there.
This country's rubbish. They can't even organise the power cut.
And that's why we are undefeatable.
I know.
We are unpredictable and undefeatable.
Well, the word I use is for Ukraine is bloody-minded. It's the English word, and very stubborn.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is a paradox that years of Soviet oppression and years of Polish oppression and years of Habsburg oppression produced this very, very anti-authoritarian
Yeah.
bloody-mindedness,
Yeah.
which is your great strength, but is also a great weakness because you're not very good at getting on together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's trying to get Ukrainian men to cooperate is sometimes very difficult.
Yeah, well, we're getting there, but you know, there's a Ukrainian saying that if you have 2 Ukrainians, you have 3 hetmans,
Yeah,
3
yeah.
kings, you know.
Exactly.
That's very typical, but we're getting over it. I mean, we are learning to cooperate, because if we didn't,
Well,
we'd
you have
lose
to.
that war. We have to. Yes, exactly. Wow, what a lovely conversation.
Very nice and very
And
improvised. Very good.
Yes, very improvised, but very good. And wine has nothing to do with this.
No, no.
Not at all. I wish we could speak forever, but again, on top of the power cut, there's the curfew,
Yeah.
and I have to get back to my hotel.
Yeah. Okay.
It's almost midnight.
Sadly, off you go.
Off I go. Thank you very much. And Marina, thank you so much.
No, thank you so
And
much.
thank you, Dr. Marsh, and thank you, Marina. Thank you for all your wonderful stories and insights, and being so honest and sharing what you've shared. I really enjoyed it.
And I should say also, he's a wonderful poet, but he didn't publish.
Maybe one day.
I admire his poetry.
Thank you. In machine translation, so you can imagine how good it is in the original, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Lost in translation.
Lost in translation. Here's
Yeah.
to peace.
Yeah,
Okay.
and for victory.
And to victory.
Yeah.